Hey, it's Stefan from Ocean Imaging here. A few weeks ago, Insta 360 sent me their new Insta 360 1R, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing this, not only in its action style camera setup, but also that's the 360 mod as well. When I first got the 1R, I immediately couldn't resist but to take it for a quick skate around the block. Now, it was getting pretty late in the day and there wasn't much light around, but I was pretty impressed at the performance of the camera when it came to the stabilization and also the low light capabilities, just from this quick skate around the block. Okay, the cool and unique thing about this twin edition is the ability to use it as a 360 camera when it's set up like this, but also as an action style camera. And it's as simple as just breaking it apart. It's got these three modules here, that one, and then the base just clips on like that. Heading into summer in South Australia means it's Port Jackson shark breeding time. So I took the camera down to one of my favorite sites to see if we could find some of these beautiful little friendly sharks. I also took with me a GoPro 8 for a bit of a comparison. Before putting the camera into the case, first I set it to 50 frames a second at 4K because I really wanted to test it out at that higher frame rate, because usually with my underwater footage I like to slow it down around 50%, give it a bit more of a stable cinematic style feel. After swimming around for a while, I was stoked to find a Port Jackson shark cruising along over the kelp forest, and I managed to get a bit of footage. The camera seemed to focus easily and pick up some pretty decent colors over this shallow reef. On the same dive in the deeper water, I came across a beautiful leafy sea dragon. The male was caring for eggs, so I didn't bother him too long, but here is some of the footage and comparison to the GoPro 8. Looking back at the performance of the camera after this initial dive, the 50 frames a second with the shark did produce some nice results, but I wasn't blown away with the performance of the camera at the deeper depths. It really struggled with the limited light available, but if you compare it to the GoPro footage at this depth, it also didn't perform that well. I waited for some nice conditions to test out the 1-inch mod at a new dive site. The end of Port Noarlunga Jetty is always packed full of fish and a fun place to test out any camera. This time, rather than shooting at 50 frames per second, I lowered it to 24. This should increase the camera performance, and it certainly did. I was impressed. The quality, colors, and dynamic range straight out of the camera was quite impressive. It wasn't really a big surprise for me, but what I found to get the most out of this camera was to have some good lighting, and of course shooting at the 24 frames a second rather than the 50, it did produce some really nice results. So now let's see how the 360 performs. The 360 shoots an impressive 5.3K at 30 frames a second. For the 360 shots, I had in mind a cool place to do this would be the T section at the end of the Rapid Bait Jetty. Packed full of fish, it seemed like the ultimate place to go and capture some 360 footage. In hindsight, it was a pretty challenging test for the camera. Sitting at around 7 meters of depth, you get some pretty dark shadows as well as some bright sunlight coming from above, which did get quite blown out in the footage, but nonetheless, the shot still does look pretty cool with all of the fish around the place. For some reason, the leather jackets just love nibbling away at the plastic housing, which does look pretty funny. To give the 360 camera a better chance, I took it to the Port Noarlunga Reef and set it out in about 3 meters of water. My leather jacket friends were back inspecting their reflection on the housing, and the quality of the shots weren't bad. For the final test, I took the camera to a special little dive site on Kangaroo Island's north coast. Taking advantage of the shallow rocky reef with beautiful colours and lots of fish, I started recording and dropped the camera in this spot to see how it would go. Overall, I was really impressed with the incredible versatility of this camera. I definitely found that with 4K at 24 frames a second delivered the best footage, which does rival one of the recent GoPros for stability, the color and dynamic range. To also be able to use this camera in 360 mode is something really special. Personally, I really enjoyed this camera. It was a lot of fun, and I think it would make for an awesome little additional camera on an underwater shoot that you could just set and forget, and you could get some really nice behind the scenes shots and even frame grabs. But the type of person that I think this camera would really appeal to is someone just beginning to get into underwater filming. I've uploaded the 5.3K 360 clips to YouTube, so you can check out them in 360 mode and you can take a look for yourself. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comments section below. Thanks for watching this video to the end. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next video.